Hi, everyone. Welcome as you're coming in. Thank you all for attending today's webinar, Finding Strength in Community, How Peer Support Transforms Caregiving. So before we get started, while we wait for others to join, I just wanted to drop a poll in the chat, or poll for you guys right now, just to kind of get an idea of where we stand as of right now. So I'm going to launch this and just a simple yes or no question. Do you currently have a peer outlet for support? And as I said, we'll wait for people to fill this out as people are coming in. Starting to see a pretty even mix, honestly. A lot of almost exactly 50-50 of yes and no. But anyone who has just joined us, welcome. We are about to get started. You should see a poll in front of you right now. Please just fill that answer out, yes or no. We're going to get started now. Um, so thank you all for being here with us today. This is the Finding Strength in Community, How Peer Support Transforms Caregiving. Today we're joined by our hosts, Jeff Yates, Vice President in Marketing and Business Development of S3 Management Group, and Marvell, our own Marvell Adams Jr., CEO of Caregiver Action Network. I'm going to be tossing it over to Marvell here in a second, but before we do, uh, we are going to get into what we'll cover today. So, as you saw the welcomes and introductions, my name is Dakota Heath. Sorry for not mentioning that. I am the John Shaw Policy and Programs Fellow at Caregiver Action Network. We are going to be going over CAN's Peer Support Circle, understanding Kindly Human, some key insights revolving around it, as well as a demo of Kindly Human and some key takeaways and a Q&A for y'all if you have any questions for us or for Kindly Human. So now I'm going to throw it over to my team member, Nicole Goebel, who can speak a little bit more on CAN's support circle and how everything that we do in CAN kind of envelops peers as a whole. Nicole?
Thanks so much, Dakota. My name is Nicole Goebel, and I am the Director of Community Initiatives here at Caregiver Action Network. And I'm really excited to kind of kick us off here as we dig into Kindly Human to talk a little bit really about how it folds into other aspects of how we connect caregivers with other caregivers. So, Kindly Human, and like I said, we'll be digging into much more about Kindly Human today, is a 24/7 peer support network that offers real-time conversations with another caregiver, a peer, who has a unique understanding and insight into that caregiving journey because they are on that caregiving journey or have been on that caregiving journey themselves. The Caregiver Action Network's Caregiver Help Desk. Now, this is one of our ways that we provide one-on-one support for family caregivers. It's almost what it sounds like, a customer support line for family caregivers. Sometimes you don't know where to go when you have that question, or maybe you just need someone to talk to. So you can reach out by phone, by email, or by chat, all available on our website, to a care advocate. Just like those peers, care advocates have a very unique understanding of the caregiving journey. Oftentimes, they are caregivers themselves, have been caregivers, and are there to help point you in the direction of resources or information that you need. Now, the other one that I want to hit on is the Caregiver Action Network's community on Facebook. We started a Facebook group just I think, over a year ago, just about a year ago. And already we have 2,000 plus members in this group. And it is so exciting to see how many folks share their stories, their experiences with each other, ask questions in the group. Every other week, we do get together and we have real talks where we pop on Facebook Live and we talk about various caregiving topics and resources. So this is really how, CAN is building community for caregivers.
Would you like me to move on, Nicole?
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and advance the slide there. Now, obviously, one of the things that's really important is, we do this, but why? Why is that peer connection so vital? Well, number one, it helps combat that caregiver isolation and loneliness. Even though there are over 100 million caregivers in the US, we all have those moments of feeling alone in our experience. And so connecting with peers is absolutely fundamental in helping you feel not alone and break down some of that isolation. Helps reduce that stress and burnout to have someone that you can share and talk to, even vent with sometimes. It's great to have that outlet. Practical tips and advice. Who else is going to be able to tell you caregiving hacks than someone who is executing them themselves in their day-to-day, caring for a loved one, or has done that? Emotional strength and encouragement. One of the things, like I said, in our Facebook group, a lot of people share their stories. And I'm always floored at the number of comments that even if someone doesn't have, like, oh, well, here's a resource or here's a solution to this issue, they're coming together, they're sharing encouragement. And like I said, really being that network of support. Caregivers need that network of support for themselves to be able to, be impactful in their role as a caregiver. We've all heard the phrase, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Having that peer network is imperative to making sure that your cup does not run empty. And of course, friends, connections, people that just in conversation, you build those connections with based on those shared experiences. This is all why we have come together to build such a network of caregiver support. And now I'm going to turn it over to Marvell to get us going onto a deep dive of Kindly Human.
1 second, actually, please. Marvell, would you be able to give a brief introduction of yourself? So just so everyone here can get a better understanding of you. Thank you.
I'm happy to. So hi, everybody. My name is Marvell Adams Jr., and I serve as CEO of Caregiver Action Network. Just really delighted to be with y'all today and to talk about Kindly Human. Caregiver Action Network, as I'm sure you're aware, is a not-for-profit based in Washington, D.C. with a national reach, and we reach tens of thousands of caregivers across the country. And through our Facebook group and newsletters and email campaigns, as well as millions of individuals through some of our larger digital media campaigns. And just really delighted to have everyone with us today. So today we're highlighting one of our more unique and really intriguing programs that we provide. And that's through our partnership with Kindly Human. And it's a peer-to-peer support network for family caregivers. And, really the major reason that we embarked on this partnership was that we were hearing from caregivers regularly that, they have connection through with Caregiver Action Network through our resources and our website. They have connections with their treatment team for their loved one, their doctors, their therapists, and they have connections with perhaps those in the circle around their loved one, other family members, siblings, cousins, you name it. But one of the things that they hear more and more about is being able to have a connection with someone that is truly a peer and understands what they may be going through as a caregiver. And so that's what we're talking about, our connection with Kindly Human and this peer-to-peer support network. Next slide, please. So our vision is really a unique one in the sense of programmatically putting out there a priority around how we support family caregivers, because many times I'm sure each of you on this Zoom today, think to yourself that you get to 10 o'clock at night and you really are either wondering if you're the only person on earth that had to deal with what you dealt with for the last few hours, or if you just really want to have a connection with someone that can really understand. But understanding that the types of diverse lifestyles and backgrounds that caregivers experience, even throughout the world, not just the United States, really do have many common threads, we find, and many of those threads really come through being able to connect with someone that is really a peer, someone that understands a human with another human, understanding what's going on as a caregiver. And so we really wanted to personalize our support for our family caregivers, and being able to do that really requires us to connect them with peers that really do understand. So, this is a statistic that may not surprise many of you, is that 90% of the U.S. adults feel the United States is experiencing a mental health crisis. This was certainly part of the catalyst behind this, but really not the beginning, was the pandemic. COVID was something that really changed our daily lives in such a dramatic way that mental health became something to the forefront for so many individuals in the workplace, individuals that perhaps had to step back from the workplace to be a caregiver, and just everything in between. But understanding that caregivers really are the humanity that exists within our care system, and so having that type of approach really starts with having a personalized support opportunities through that peer-to-peer network. So, for us, having this type of approach really allows us not only to support the well-being of caregivers, but also understand that it's really a natural thing to want to talk with someone that really understands. And for us, we get uh, um, um, we recognize that being able to provide empathy and really everything we do programmatically is a big part of how we connect with individuals that have different cultural backgrounds, with various societal contexts, but also maybe experiencing something that is similar to what you're going through. And so, this mental health crisis, as we state here, really is one that is not insurmountable, but really can be addressed and mitigated through connecting with other individuals that perhaps can empathize and understand. And also, so glad for seeing everybody check in on the chat. That's awesome. Seeing folks from all over the place. So, peer-to-peer statistics here just to give you an idea of, what we're talking about. So in each of these groups, you've got caregivers with children with special needs, caregivers that support individuals with cognitive impairment and dementia, and then caregivers during COVID-19. And each of these really have, this aspect, as well as other disease and conditions, of recognizing how important peer connection can be. With individuals that may be a parent of a child with special needs, understanding that 45%, nearly half of those that received peer support in the last 5 years, said it helped them navigate healthcare, schools, and providing emotional support. Because, when you are caring for a child, you, as a parent, are already without any additional add-ons or diseases or conditions that your child may have, is really already lifting a great deal. And so you add into that the complexity of school systems and healthcare, and then you add into that really the emotional toll that it can take of being a caregiver of someone that really may need you more so than other children. And so recognizing that a parent, or even, as I think someone just put in the chat, a caregiver, a kinship, a grandparent, a colleague, a friend of the family, but someone that really is supporting that child. I found that nearly half the time peer support has really been helpful. And then also we're understanding that one of the more difficult areas is being a caregiver of someone with Alzheimer's or going through some sort of cognitive change or experiencing or exhibiting neuropsychiatric symptoms. And this becomes really tenuous because there's just so many unknowns from day to day when it comes to this type of disease and condition. And so, we saw that 83% valued online peer support, but barriers like time and digital skills were a limitation. And so, one of the other things you're going to hear from our good friend Jeff in a moment is why we connect with Kindly Human, because this digital platform allows folks to really connect from where they are, when they are, in the best way that they find, useful, through their phone, through a laptop, and really being able to do that at a time that's convenient for them. But recognizing that overwhelmingly, majority of people that are serving individuals with Alzheimer's, dementia, really find value in online peer support. And then lastly, I mentioned earlier about COVID-19 and the pandemic and the impact that had on so many aspects of our life. But 31%, so a third of individuals that use some sort of support group or online forum said that resources that they utilized and found within that online forum, was really helpful in their caregiving roles. And many times we find that being able to center the person that's served and getting the feedback and input of the individual that's their caregiver as we build tools that are on our website and resources that you can find at caregiveraction.org, and through a whole host of other connections. We find over and over again that peer connection and support is just really a vital aspect. And as Nicole said earlier, almost being able to have a caregiving hack at times of like, this is the thing I tried and this would work well for me, because no one approach or program is perfect for any caregiver. In fact, the uniqueness of everyone that we have, not only in today's call, but throughout our network, really requires us to be as flexible as possible. And the way we do that is really through an empathetic approach with utilizing caregivers as part of this peer support group. And Allison in South Carolina, I have to say, sorry, seeing you pop up there. It's my home state there. I grew up, born and raised outside of Columbia. So welcome on board. Next slide. So our approach, just before I turn it over to Jeff, is, we feel that at Caregiver Action Network, as a not-for-profit, our main charge is creating community. And how can we create community in a way that allows for models like the one with the Kindly Human infrastructure can allow individuals to come together, create their own community, create connections, and really find ways to foster their own connection with individuals that may have a similar experience to them. And many times, sometimes finding a connection with someone that may have a different experience than you, but you learn from it all the same, because these different aspects and unique lived experiences that each of us have is really what enriches the experience of all of us that are caregivers. And so being able to have a community-based model is a big core component of our work with Kindly Human, and really being able to make connections with family caregivers who provide loved ones with support, no matter what their specific disease state or caregiving circumstance might be. So now I will turn it over to our good friend Jeff. And Jeff, if you could just tell the group a little bit about yourself, and I know they'll hear more about Kindly Human and S3 in a moment, but just welcome you to come on to screen today. I'll share with folks that I got to know Jeff a couple years ago at a retreat, and was quite frankly just enamored with the approach of having certified peer listeners to be able to connect individuals of all different walks of life with ways to be able to understand what they may be going through, and even mitigate some of the burden that goes along with it by being connected with peers that can listen and understand. And so, Jeff, I'll have you come on screen and tell the folks a little bit about yourself, and as well as Kindly Human.
Thanks so much, Marvell. It's a privilege to be here today. And yes, we've had a lot of fun over these couple of years, dreaming and now seeing a reality to a vision that we talked through with what we can do as another way, one of the many incredible ways that Caregiver Action Network supports home-based caregivers. I do have experience in this, so part of this is personal for me. My mom walked that path. Gosh, she's been gone now 17 years, but I remember how lost we felt when we were battling breast cancer with her, and especially in those last few months of just not knowing where to even ask questions or who to turn to, or how to approach, finding help in a way, you certainly feel isolated. And our story is so small compared to the journeys that many of you carry. And so our hope, our prayer is that we meet a need somewhere along the way as you go through this journey, because I know it's difficult. We live it today with an 86 and an 87-year-old parents now. So it just continues. That cycle of life continues. But we approach this very differently. And Toto, if you want to hit the next slide, we approach connection in a very different way. There are tremendous resources out there that provide counseling. Obviously, support groups are tremendous. 800 numbers and hotlines are fantastic as well. But if there is sometimes a gap in how those meet those needs, is that whoever's on the other end of that phone, or whoever is part of that counseling group, may or may not have actually walked the path that you're currently walking. And at the end of the day, there is just so much value and comfort when you can actually connect with somebody that just gets it, because they've literally walked in your shoes. Sometimes that's because they're walking the same stage of life. They're maybe the same ethnicity. They look like you, and they've literally walked the path, the very struggle that you're struggling with today. And it's just so comforting to be able to connect with somebody that just truly understands, because they've walked in your shoes and they've come out the other side. So if you want to switch over, we approach this in a unique way. One thing that is a fact is that meltdowns don't happen between 9 and 5 on Monday through Friday. The struggles are real. It's a 24/7 battle often when you're a caregiver. And the reality is that sometimes when you reach that point of struggle or desperation, or it's just a quiet time, and you just want to connect or be encouraged, that is the goal of Kindly Human. We are a web app-based solution. So as long as you can connect to the internet, you can reach this resource that Caregiver Action Network is providing. There's a web app application that's very easy to access through your phone, or you can do it through a tablet, or even through just a computer or desktop. You can access this in order to connect with others. Let's switch over. So the magic in this is that you get to determine what kind of support that you want. Each of you are walking a journey that's uniquely different. And so part of the journey that we've begun with Caregiver Action Network is that some of you may even at some point want to share your story. You may be that support that you want to provide to somebody else as you have success in the journey that you're walking right now. But when you go in, you set up through the app, and I would point out, I noticed in the chat earlier, there were some people looking for Kindly Human. You can certainly find our website and see more about us, but in some ways that's going to be relevant. In some ways it's going to look a little different, because we support companies and different organizations as well. But through Caregiver Action Network, and there probably will be a link at the end of this call today, there is a dedicated portal where you can go in and reach access to this opportunity directly from Caregiver Action Network. So I just wanted to throw that out there. But the cool part is when you go in, you set up your own account, if you will, and then you get to choose the area of support that you're looking for. There's kind of 6 overarching areas: emotions, relationship, work, community, finances, and health. And then literally hundreds and hundreds of subtopics below that. And I'd point out that maybe your battle is about a specific diagnosis or a specific problem that you're working with and supporting your loved one or someone that you're friends with. But the reality is those stress points and the things that are affecting your life may go well beyond just that specific problem. Maybe you're a dedicated full-time caregiver, and that starts to affect your relationships, or it starts to affect how you perform at work, or it starts to affect your health or your finances. And so the cool part is there's all kinds of resources in here to support whatever topics, and there's no limit to the amount of topics you search and what you want to do. If we look at the next piece, how do we do this? We provide this through what we call our peer support group. Who are these people? That's one of the questions we get often. I'll tell you what they're not. They're not certified clinically trained counselors. That's not who we are. We are actually just human beings that have walked through life. We have been through journeys, And now we want to share and help and encourage others. And so, as we mentioned, there's no limit to the different topics, and different people will share on multiple topics. This starts as we walk through the app in a second, you'll see this. It starts by listening. So we have thousands of pre-recorded stories. In fact, if you want to flip over one more, it starts by pre-recorded stories. We've literally recorded hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of stories. This is something you have the opportunity to participate in as well at some point. But that's where many of the connections happen, is just simply by listening to other people's stories of encouragement. These range from 1 to 5, maybe 7 minutes long. And it's just continuous opportunities that you can listen to how someone else has dealt with a certain struggle. If one of those folks actually makes sense, you've set up your account, you've connected with these different people, and you'll see all this live in a second, then the opportunity to actually connect with one of those certified peer listeners is also available. This is through phone conversations. You can schedule a call ahead of time. You can see if someone is available at the moment that you're searching. There are typically people available 24/7, 365, because again, a meltdown doesn't happen on a scheduled time. It happens late at night, over the weekend, and you're just desperate for some encouragement. And that's what we're here to provide you. Let's go on to the next page, and let's do this. Let's just look at the app itself. Sorry about that. I'm not a technology genius, that's for sure. Here we go. So this is a live view of the app. It will look somewhat different. Simply, it will have Caregiver Action Network's information. And what happens is when you click through the link that you'll have available at the end of this call, you go through a series of questions, and it's asking you for your age, your ethnicity, where you live, how many kids, married, single, all these different things. And the point of that is that part of the goal is to match you up with other people that look very similar to you, that have walked a very similar path. You certainly have the ability to talk to any and everyone, but our goal is to really match you up with people that make sense and that you feel comfortable. Once you've set up your account, you'll see additional resources. There are other things, and Caregiver Action Network lists several different other things. This is a demo, obviously, but there are lots of different links that you can get through to, other 800 numbers, other hotlines, other resources that Caregiver Action Network provides for you. But the goal is, how do we support you? So in this top box right here where it says search for support, this is where you have the ability to enter whatever you want to type in. You can search from the different, what we call tags. So in this particular case, being a caregiver for my mom, and I'm dealing with kids, and it just feels unimaginable. So I'm struggling with caregiving, I'm stressed, I'm how to deal with work. And so the system will automatically, based on that, connect you with people that look like you, that have walked this path, and you can start by just reading their story. You can understand how they've dealt with things. Here's where you can listen to stories that are pre-recorded, and you can just scroll through here and you can listen. There's no limit to how many people you can search. You can go back and engage with multiple people. But let's just say in this particular case, Eve resonates with you. Like, hey, I've listened to her stories. It makes sense. I really get it. Well, then you have the opportunity to schedule a call with Eve. Schedules are hard. It's tough. So every caregiver certified listener that is in here will post hours that they're available. You can search and schedule it ahead of time. But let's just say we want to talk to them today, and we're going to set it up for later on today. And so it'll ask you how you're feeling ahead of time. And that's important because the listener wants to kind of know what they're stepping into. And you can just say, hey, I'm not feeling good. I'm worried about stress and I'm dealing with caregiving. And so that call is instantly scheduled. You can see that it's scheduled for later today at 4:30. And so now you go on about your day. You do the things you need to do. And then 2 minutes before that call, you get a text reminder that says, hey, you're about to get a call, and here's your opportunity to connect with Eve. And then 2 minutes later, our system bridges you two together. No exchanging of personal information or phone numbers. It's all private. It's not video driven. It can be completely anonymous. All they know is your first name. You certainly can share as much as you want, but this is an opportunity to directly then talk to this person that has been down the same path that you're going. You can listen to what they do. You can ask them questions. They can give you wisdom and advice, or just simply be an encouragement during that process. Once the call is done, you return back again. You can search through other people. Literally, you can go through hundreds and hundreds of different folks that have also shared stories, walked similar paths. So that gives you a quick kind of overview. It's a very simple app. It's very simple to navigate, but the key is it allows you on unlimited usage to connect with other people based on an unlimited number of topics, whether specific to what you're searching with or dealing with, or other broader topics around other things in life that might be bringing stress to. So hope that's helpful. Certainly happy to answer questions, but in the meantime, I'll kick it back over to you guys.
Great. Thanks so much, Jeff.
Uh,
So now I think we just wanted to leave ample space for question and answer. I'll ask our friends on the Caregiver Action team to help us with any questions that may be coming in through the Q&A or chat feature.
Yeah. One question that came in was, can medical specialty organizations set up their own page or profile on Kindly Human to connect with caregivers within the organization on the platform? So really looking at the question of, if I'm part of an organization, can my organization set up a profile to connect with caregivers that may be part of our organization?
So we certainly have a variety of organizations that are embedded in the Kindly Human app. Caregiver Action Network is one of those organizations, because we want that to be a resource for folks that we deal with in all other walks of life, other companies that we support, and insurance plans that we support. We want them, if they're a caregiver, personally, we want them to be able to find you guys. It's certainly a conversation that can be had. It is impossible to embed every company that's out there, but certainly happy to visit further if it's an organization that makes sense. If they're trying to directly reach the caregivers that are part of Caregiver Action Network, then I'm not sure if that's a conversation for us or a conversation for you guys and how to bring more exposure to them. So, but always happy to visit and explore opportunities.
Great. Thanks, Jeff. I see there's questions, and I think Paula is dropping in the chat just a link to be able to utilize Kindly Human. And this is, we probably should drop, this is free of charge. So this is no cost to caregivers. We are started this partnership with Kindly Human, and our perspective was to be able to bring this resource to caregivers and being able to utilize it in a way that is going to be accessible. And for Caregiver Action Network, everything we provide directly to caregivers is no cost. And so that's a part of our accessibility, being able to provide that. What other questions do we have, Nicole? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, so we just had a question come in. Well, I think you, since you were just talking about this being free of charge for family caregivers, kind of an additional question that came through was, are the listeners paid? Are they compensated for their time?
Yes, the short answer is yes. If someone has a passion and wants to share and support others, and they want to become a part of that, we have literally a certified listener academy. It's a 30-day training program. It's very intensive because we really care that our folks do a good job of representing well what we're supposed to do, and that's care for others. But once they go through that training and they're fully vetted out, then it's a little side gig that someone can have as well, where they're paid for the time that they spend on the phone and talking with other people. Yes.
Fantastic. Another, I think, logistical question or a nuts and bolts type question that has come through is an app. How can people connect with Kindly Human? Website, apps, things like that.
So we have a website, as I mentioned earlier, but to connect directly through the program that Caregiver Action Network is providing, there is a dedicated landing page. I believe I saw that shared in the chat a while ago. And that's going to be your best avenue to connect directly with what we're talking about today, the support that you guys are providing to caregivers that are part of your network and organization.
Great.
Yeah, so for the link that Jody just put in to caregiveractionnetwork.org/kindlyhuman, that'll show you how to get connected as well as being able to use the app. So we're going to have to wrap up our time. This has been spectacular, everyone. The recording of this will be made available, and so you can search that out through our website. If you are an email subscriber, which I hope you are. If not, feel free to go to our main landing page at caregiveraction.org to sign up. The information, will be recorded and shared with everybody. So just want to, and someone asked me at a cell phone. Jeff, I think you can use this on a laptop, right? Yep.
Yes. Yeah, I saw that. I did want to make sure that they knew that as long as you can access the internet, you can access this. And I don't know about the capability of talking to someone through your computer, or that just depends on how your computer's set up or your tablet. But certainly the connection to listen to stories and all of that, you do not have to have a cell phone.
Give the QR code another try. For someone that just tried it, it should be working. We just gave it a test on our end, and it did come up. But yes, just as we'll split in the chat, you can also follow Jeff, thanks to the entire Caregiver Action team today. Dakota, thanks for getting us kicked off here. Nicole for helping with questions. And Jody, of course, as always, working behind the scenes. Just a really great opportunity for folks to connect with other peers. And we encourage you to give it a try. Dakota, anything else before we bid adieu?
I just want to thank everyone for being here. And it's wonderful that y'all are willing and so excited to join this peer-to-peer network. We are excited to have you. Just thank you all again for being here. It means the world to us, and I'm so glad that we can bring these resources to you all. Thank you again.